Alright, this is going to be the day 2 tutorial for the Pikmin Switch speedrun. Not too much to talk about before we get into it, but one thing I think, I'm not sure if I mentioned it previously, but I say C-sticking a lot in this tutorial. What I really mean when I say C-sticking is using L plus the right stick to kind of direct Pikmin around. On the GameCube version, it's a C-stick, and it's kind of wordy to say L plus right stick. So whenever I say C-sticking, I mean L plus right stick. So yeah. This area it's definitely the hardest area to one day in the run, but it's significantly more forgiving on Switch version. So it shouldn't be too bad to learn the one day. That said, though, when you're first learning, you're definitely not going to be getting this in one day. Most of the time, it'll be in 2 days. And while I don't show in this video the strats for doing it in 2 days, or I guess the routes, the strats are all the same. I will link a video in the description here by MoKG, who shows at different parts in the run, if you know you're not going to be able to get it done in one day, how you should change the route to split it up into 2 days. But yeah, so this is not much to do in this area. Just smash through the cutscene, and you basically just want to flower your Pikmin and get them on the wall as fast as possible. One Switch exclusive thing here is on Switch, if you hold Y while you're either putting Pikmin in or taking them out of the onion, they come out in tens. So you should hold Y while you're taking them out of the onion here. Stand next to this little, I guess, leg of the onion here just to get a quick throw under the one pellet, and then just move everyone else over to the patch of grass. So the way the patches of grass work in this game is each individual blade of grass gives you an 8% chance of spawning nectar, and different patches of grass have different numbers of blades of grass. This one has 30, so just the way the math works out, there's a 92% chance that you'll get at least one bit of nectar from this patch of grass, which is all you need. If that doesn't happen, there's another patch of grass on the opposite side of the impact site, or landing site, I should say. If you don't get grass here, just go over to that other patch and just try to get nectar from that. That one is also a 30 blade of grass patch, so you have a 92% chance of that one as well. So I would not be too worried if you take a while to get nectar here, especially when you're first learning. I would say never reset for no nectar on this patch, just because you want to build consistency with the other parts of the run that are a little harder. But yeah, so just C-stick around here. Once you see the nectar come out and hit the ground, that's when you're going to want to whistle, and then C-stick everyone onto the nectar. It's fine if you don't get everyone nectared. Even if up to like 4 or 5 aren't nectared, that's still okay. Just keep a note here of how many are leaves, because it's slightly important later. So here I know I have 1 leaf. You can whistle them as soon as like they start turning into flowers. You don't need to wait too long. And then just beeline it, throw 2 onto this. Ideally, you want to throw flowers onto that, but it doesn't really matter, and you just want to get this wall started as quick as possible. So just throw 2 quickly and then head over to the wall. And so I mentioned earlier, so you remember I had 1 leaf here. You will always have 3 extra leaves from the ones you grew in this area, so I'll have 4 leaves total. That's important to remember because I want to put all my leaves onto the 10 pellet here, so I just need to remember that I need to make sure at least 4 leaves are on the 10 pellet. And then once everyone's plucked and on the wall, there's not much to do. You can just kind of chill. The only thing is if you don't move for long enough, then Olimar actually goes idle. And then if you try to whistle, he doesn't. So just make sure you're moving around a little bit or like mash an A or something so he doesn't go idle as the gate falls. And then right as it falls, whistle everyone. It's really nice on the Switch version. It actually shows you like which way I'm C-sticking with these little white arrows. You can see the way I'm C-sticking. I'm doing that very on purpose because once I stop with Olimar, I'll stop right as my reticle reaches the 10 pellet. If I C-stick up and to the right like this, then my flowers will kind of move away from me and all my leaves will be right next to Olimar, so I can really quickly throw them all in the 10 pellet, you see. Like, right here I stopped, all my flowers up here, my leaves are right next to Olimar, so I can just really quickly throw them onto the 10 pellet. And you should try to get all of your leaves onto the 10 pellet. If you have 1 or 2 that don't get on that, it's okay. You'll just throw them onto these bulbarbs later. But as soon as that's moving, or not even as soon as you're done throwing on there, you want to get these guys moving, or I guess break down these posies ASAP, because these are going to be the limiting factor in this kind of whole section, is getting these guys into the onion. So you just want to kind of shotgun spray onto them. You don't have to be too precise. Just throw like 4 or 5 reds just to make sure they all get broken down before you then deal with this one pellet and the bulborbs. You definitely want to whistle these guys that kill the bulborb, because sometimes if you don't, they just grab the 1 pellets and move, but you don't want them to grab the 1 pellets. And then as soon as you have them, whistle the ones on these 1 pellets, because they also sometimes don't grab them correctly and they'll be on 2-on-1. But you only want to min load everything here, so essentially load the 10 pellet, break this, throw on this one, kill these, whistle, whistle, 1, 1, 1, just 1 per here, and then 3 per here. And if you do that, you should have 8 remaining Pikmin. Like I mentioned also earlier, if you have any extra leaves, put them on the bulborbs here. And right here, yes, you have 8. This is where you should be kind of taking stock. So now we're going to initiate the bridge skip. You're supposed to need loose for this, but it's fairly easy to skip with reds. This is the fast strat I'm showing here, where I stand right in the corner here. You don't want to go too far and fall in the water, or else your Pikmin will start drowning. But just stand fairly close to the water in the corner here and aim kind of up onto the wall here on the left. I actually don't aim quite far enough left. You really want to aim for as the wall meets the ceiling here, kind of this little, you can see kind of a seam there. That's where you kind of want to aim. And then just be a little careful here when you whistle them. You don't want to whistle them from too far left, or else the ones that are near the edge will end up falling in the water. So whistle them, so you stick them to the right, and then dismiss them right as they get onto the log. So that's the fast strat. I would recommend learning that. Honestly, it's not super hard. But if you don't feel comfortable with it, this is the other strat. This is basically just what we do in the GameCube version. You just throw them over here, walk past, whistle, and then you should never have anyone drowning here, just because you can throw them so far. And then you see there's a little, like a small flat edge here on the island. You want to stand right in the middle of that edge. And then, yeah, whistle them when they come out of the water, and then make sure to C-stick up here as you're throwing onto the stick bridge. If you don't C-stick up and throw, the way Pikmin move when Olimar's throwing them is they always stand behind him. So they'll end up like walking into the water if you don't C-stick up here. So, but yeah, regardless of which strat you did, as soon as you're done, just run back to the onion. This is why I like doing that slightly faster strat, is I'm going to get back fast enough to whistle these guys and put them on the slow stuff here. If you do the drown strat, where you just kind of throw them in the water, you usually don't have time to do that. So this just speeds it up a little bit to the wall throw strat. So remember that you are going to need to dismiss, because you're close here. You're going to need to dismiss and then whistle them. And then as soon as you have them in your party, try to press A to grab one. Usually you'll have a flower come to you. And then as soon as the flower is in your hand, press X to switch it to a leaf. Because I kind of want to get rid of the leaves. So I make sure I don't have any leaves on the 5 pellet up here, because that's going to be the last thing to come in most of the time. So I want to make sure I have all flowers on it. So I grab one, switch it to a leaf, throw it, and then immediately grab a second one and throw it in this little patch of 4 as well. I want to throw 2 Pikmin each on this patch, and then also 2 on this patch. And make sure to throw them at different pellet posies so they don't just like grab that one pellet after it falls. So yeah, kill this guy. You see again, I threw a leaf on that. And you should be able to one-shot these guys. Just throw 3 Pikmin. And a lot of the times, since you threw 3, they'll go idle and just pick them up without you having to throw them. And then get this 5 pellet moving. Once everything here is dead, or I guess once you've thrown to the 5 pellet, you kind of want to just start moving back here, looking at what needs to get carried. If like 2 Pikmin grab 1 pellet and start moving with it, or say there's 4 Pikmin on this guy, that's okay. You don't need to get everything back in this cycle. There's kind of like a half cycle you can do later. Just as long as no more than like 1 or 2 1 pellets are left here at the end, then you should be okay. I would go even so far as to say most of the time there's usually some 1 pellets here, so really don't feel like you need to get everything like I did here. I actually got kind of lucky in the way that they all grabbed. But you want to get back and start plucking as soon as possible. And you pretty much just want to pluck all the ones in this circle. And once you are back to where you started plucking, then I will just, if there's more that are in the ground that started growing, I'm just going to press V to cancel the auto pluck, and then just move Olimar to start speeding up anything that's not in the onion yet. And then once everything's getting sucked up, yeah, dismiss and go. Right here is if there were any one pellets that you left behind. This is where you would grab and just throw one flower each on them. And then also anything over here you should grab as well. I actually didn't need to grab these because I got enough Pikmin from, I guess, the other extras from this area. But I would say as a habit, especially when you're learning, just grab everything just to have extra Pikmin, because it'll really raise your run consistency to have a lot of extras. And then after throwing on these, always throw 4. Make sure they're flowers right here. You don't want 3, you definitely want 4. They're going to go on the bridge, and if you only have 3, then the bridge won't be done by the end of the day. And then always grab that one as well. Just for a time check also, I'm here decently before the quarter day bell rings. But if your quarter day bell rings as you're about to put Pikmin on this wall, you're still okay to get the 1 day. It'll be close, but you should be okay. And as the leaves get there, you don't want to try to C-stick the leaves on it. You should just dismiss and start getting the bridge going. So yeah, these are the 4 you threw earlier. Definitely when you throw the 4, throw them close to the wall. If you throw them over here, then they'll end up grabbing the 1 pellets that are moving, which you don't want. So yeah, make sure they're out of the way. And then, yeah, just get back, start plucking ASAP. Not much to say about this. Really, the only thing is, there are almost always going to be a couple sprouts that are like this little yellow pellet will almost always not be sprouted by the time you're done plucking all the rest. It is fine, though, to leave 1 or 2, up to 2 is fine, sprouts in the ground here, because you'll have time to grab them later without losing time. And by the time you get back, they will have either matured to buds or flowers, so you won't have to worry about any leaves. Like you see here, I'm kind of moving the camera around to check where the buds are, or where the sprouts are. I saw there's 2, and they're both right next to each other, so I can easily leave these for later without losing time. And then make sure you don't get any trips here. A lot of times since the camera zooms in, it's easy to miss a trip, so keep an eye out there. And then this is another instance where leaves are slow, so it's faster just to throw them. If your throwing is pretty slow, then it might be faster to walk up and dismiss, but most of the time just throw them. But you always want to be at this wall before it breaks down, because as it breaks down, you want to whistle all the Pikmin and kind of C-stick them into the wall. It gets them to bunch up pretty well, which I find makes them more likely to grab and kill this Bulborb. But it's going to be a little weird how you do this Bulborb. You're gonna have to like do a weird flick. It takes essentially practice to get the muscle memory down for this. So you want to, as you're walking past, C-stick your leaves onto him. If the flowers grab him too, that's fine. You just want at least 1 flower near Olimar. So you can throw that flower up here, and then as soon as you let go of A, you just want to whistle and flick the controller down really far, because you want to whistle these guys without stopping moving as you're running to the yellow onion. So you can see here, I throw, and then, let me just run here. So I throw, and then as I'm done throwing, I start flicking it down and whistling. And I whistle these guys right after they kill the Bulborb, so they're now in my party again. So after this cutscene ends, you don't have to worry about if anyone is like gonna bump into this guy. It's fine. You don't have to try to move them out of the way because you're gonna wake him anyway. Just try to grab a leaf here because you want to keep as many flowers as you can, and throw leaves on this guy. Just keep mashing A until he's dead. Usually after 2 shakes he'll die, but if your throwing's a little slow, then it can be a little. I guess maybe 3 shakes. For some reason, I guess someone must have tripped or something. He almost never eats people, but if anyone is kind of in front of him, he will eat them. But that's fine because we grew extras, so it's okay to lose some reds here. And then as soon as he dies, whistle everyone on him and grab this yellow. And you can get the reds out of your party and the yellow in your party by, as soon as you pluck it, you should kind of C-stick to the left and then dismiss. The reds will dismiss, but the yellow, since it just joined your party, will actually stay in your party. And then I usually try to throw the yellow on the farther one pellet. It's not a huge deal, but in all of the kind of cycles here where you're moving the one pellets and then getting things done while that's happening, this cycle can definitely take the longest because you're going to whistle and move these reds away, and then also sometimes there might be some extra reds that are still on the bull board that you didn't whistle. So I usually try to throw this on the yellow pellet, the farthest yellow pellet, because that one's going to take the longest. And just dismiss them past this wall. If they're kind of right here, that's fine too. And then past that, it doesn't really matter which yellow pellet goes in. But then with throwing this red onto these guys, you don't want to throw it too early, or else it'll actually be done killing the pellets, and it'll start bringing them back to the onion while you're still doing stuff here. So I usually wait until this yellow is about to get collected before throwing the red. And you can hear he just killed the second one, so this is pretty good timing for me to whistle these guys, and then I can just do a long whistle off screen here to grab that red. And then this bulborb here is going to be the last thing to get collected in this area, so I want to get that sped up first, basically. So I can grab a yellow in my hand, press R to swap this red into my hand immediately, and then throw it, and then 2 more yellows onto the bulborb. And then usually you want to make sure to try to throw the yellow onto the farthest pellet there. And then here, you usually want to throw 2 yellows just because this thing, if it has 2 yellows, it'll be able to catch up with the bulborb here. I ended up getting 1 glitching onto the bulborb. That's okay, but usually you just want to try to get 2 on this yellow 1 pellet. Not too much else important here. Just get everything in and then throw 2 on the bomb rocks there. You actually only want to throw 2, not 3, because if you get all 3 of these bomb rocks, you end up with too many bomb rocks later, which can be a little annoying, so just make sure to throw 2. And then again, not too much here, just you want to throw the 3 bomb rocks. You want to throw them right here. If you throw them on the sides, they won't all drop their bombs, and also you don't want to throw them past. You just want it right in the middle, right in front of the wall there. And then as these 3 are passing the cannon, then you can dismiss them just to really make sure that you don't miss any bomb rocks from the cannon. And you should usually have 8 more to pluck here. Alright, so right here is where you want to whistle everyone. Now is the time to look at your counts. You should have at least 12 fewer than the total on the field because there's 12 on the bridges. And then also because I left 2 in the ground near the onion, I will have, you'll have to subtract 14 from the total. So 100 minus 14 is 86, so I know I have all the Pikmin that I need. Just make sure that no one gets caught like on this wall or in the can or anything like that. And then also this is a pretty common trip area, so keep an eye out for that. I guess I haven't really talked about trips yet, but if someone were to trip here, I guess there's a couple ways to deal with trips. The most common one is dismiss your Pikmin. That'll make them not, get up from tripping, and then you can just whistle them and keep moving again. If there's a lot of enemies around, you probably don't want to do that. You can just wait for the trip to get up. But this is one of the cases where the Pikmin aren't that close to the enemies, so if I saw a trip, I would just dismiss and whistle. And make sure to stay kind of up on this side of the wall, especially with the bulborb so close. If your Pikmin get near the bulborb, this small one, it'll start attacking them, and then after a little bit, it'll scream and wake up the bigger one, and that you definitely don't want. So, yeah. Try to throw you should have most of the time at least 10 flowers here. If you have fewer, that's fine. Just throw at least 10 on the other side of this box. You want to throw them in the center here. If I were to aim like kind of the left or kind of to the right, then they would usually end up falling off the box as they're pushing it into the water. and then they would die, and also there wouldn't be 10 left in the box to push it, so that would slow you down. So you always throw right in the middle. And also, if you do suspect that maybe you threw one or two too far to the side, it's always fine to just throw like 11 or 12 onto the box, so that if one falls off and drowns, the box is still moving. And then most of the time, you're going to want to, after the box is moving, go back and kill this guy. Sometimes he's kind of stuck in the Bulborb, then you don't have to deal with him. Or if he's kind of to the left of this line, if he's over here, then you can leave him. But if he's anywhere to the right of the Bulborb here, then you're going to need to kill him, or else he'll eat the Pikmin on the Geiger counter later. And so this bridge can give people a lot of trouble sometimes, especially with leaves. Essentially, the trick to never lose Pikmin on this bridge, except for trips. If someone trips, there's not much you can do. But you want to, as soon as the box is done, whistle, C-stick back towards the box, and then as like at the same time you're doing that, you want to just run up with Olimar to get Olimar separated from the Pikmin. The farther that Olimar is from the Pikmin, the more of a kind of straight line that they will make. If Olimar is really close to the Pikmin when you try to C-stick them, they'll actually stay in kind of a wide circular group and they'll end up falling off the sides. So I whistle, C-stick down at the same time I run, and then just do circles. After you do the C-stick down, just do circles around Olimar, and that should keep the with the C-stick, and that should keep Pikmin in line. And then, yeah, as soon as you see this guy spawn, cut left, and you don't want to go too far right because there's another Snagret that can spawn like over here or something. So you want to kind of stick near this wall on the left. That should spawn the second one. As soon as you see him spawn, C-stick up against this wall. For some reason, like even if he spawned like right here, if your C-stick up against the wall, he does not try to eat your Pikmin. But so once he goes back into the ground, so the way that this Snagret works is he will always respawn in the same place that he just went back into the ground. And every time he comes up out of the ground, there's a 40% chance that his head will get stuck, and you'll be able to get a lot of damage on him. That's what you want, but that doesn't usually happen. Well, I guess 40%. It's not that uncommon. But if he comes up fast and doesn't get stuck, then you're going to want to C-stick all your Pikmin onto him. Make sure you don't have any more than like 20 or so left in your party to make sure you're doing a lot of damage to him. And he will kind of do this screeching sound 3 times. After the 3rd time, that's when you're going to want to whistle off of him, and then he'll go back into the ground. If he got stuck and you were able to get everyone on his head, then he should die before he goes back into the ground. But so luckily I was able to show both things that could happen here. First, I'm C-sticking, and he comes up fast, so he didn't get stuck. And you see I only have like 20 left in my party, so I'm doing enough damage to him. And after the 3rd little struggle sound, that's when I whistle. So 1, 2, 3, whistle. He went back in the ground. And then as soon as he starts going back in the ground, you want to start C-sticking around there again. If your Pikmin kind of idle themselves because they tried to grab him and then he left, don't whistle them. It's fine if they stay idle. They'll immediately grab him as soon as he comes back out of the ground. But you just want to keep C-sticking around. And then see, I got the slow get up. He got his head stuck, so I was able to get a lot of damage on him. And then right as he dies, I'll whistle. Whistle and press A. Try to press R until you get to a leaf. Or sorry, get to a red Pikmin. It'll usually be a leaf. But once all of your Pikmin kind of settle out, if you press X, you should be able to swap to a flower. Once you have the flower in your hand, keep pressing A, wait for the other flowers to move to the front of the party, then you can throw it into the nectar patch here and C-stick the flowers in there as well. This is a patch of 30 blades of grass, just like in the landing site. There's a 92% chance that you get nectar from it. We do need at least 1 bit of nectar here. It's not the easiest thing to get everyone nectared off of 1 nectar bubble, but especially if it comes early like this, I didn't have everyone in a tight grouping. But generally, on the Switch version, you will want to keep do really fast circles with the C-stick just to get everyone in as tight a grouping as possible to get them all on the nectar when it spawns. That's actually the opposite of what you wanted to do on the GameCube version. So if you have experience with that, you wanted to kind of keep them loose because you didn't want the bombs to clip into each other because that can cause them to not grab the nectar. On Switch though, you do want to just get a really tight grouping and C-stick them around the nectar as it spawns. If you have some leaves, that's fine. You can keep letting them try to get more nectar from the grass here, or there's a backup later. But as soon as they turn into flowers, whistle them. And you want to throw, so the max load on the Geiger counter is 25. You want to throw slightly more than 25 just to make sure at least 25 grab. And the way you want to aim your cursor is just kind of on the top of the Geiger counter here, just to make sure that they all grab it. If they like land and hit the Geiger counter, they will grab it and not a one pellet. One other thing about throwing here is if a nectar drop spawns and lands on Olimar, that actually messes you up, because if you try to throw Pikmin, they hit the nectar and bounce off and go idle. So if the nectar lands on you, you will need to move with Olimar out of it. But so once I see there's 25 on there, I wait for all of the stragglers to go idle so I can whistle them. And then I got a little lucky in that I got one extra bit of nectar, so I was able to nectar my other leaves. And then as soon as you have everyone whistled, just C-stick your yellows into this can. You don't need to be super particular about it, just a quick C-stick into there, and then put everyone else on the Eternal Fuel Dynamo. One thing also about C-sticking onto parts here is you see I don't actually go, like, I don't touch it with Olimar. I just stay maybe one Olimar width away from it. That's what I find is the, I guess, most effective way to load parts. If you try to like walk up into it with Olimar, a lot of the time your Pikmin will not grab onto it. So you just want to stay a little bit away from it when you C-stick onto it. And then whistle these guys as you're walking away. Sometimes there won't always be 40 on here. Like if you're low on Pikmin or you didn't C-stick right, that's fine. You can just throw a couple yellows, or if you have any reds on there, just make sure there's at least 40 before you leave. And then here, just like with the earlier wall, this is a 3-bomb wall. You just want to land them right in front of it, right in the middle. And then you can go pluck any that you left behind here. The backup, if you still have leaves, like if you didn't get enough nectar, is to, at this point, you'll C-stick your Pikmin into this nectar patch here before dismissing, grabbing your bombs, and then heading over this way. So you see here I have 7 bombs. That means I didn't miss any. Most of the time you'll have 7. If you have 6, that's also fine. If you have 5, that's not great, because you need 4 for this wall and 2 for the big bulborb up here. If you only have 5, I would recommend just putting 4 on the wall, because you'll definitely need to break that down, and then throw 1 onto this guy, and you can like C-stick him and kill him after he falls asleep later. But if you have 6 or more, then you're okay. So the way to kill this guy is you need to hit him with 2 bombs, but you don't want the bombs to hit him like right at the same time, because he actually has some invincibility frames once he gets hit by one of them. So you'll notice I throw one, wait just like a half second before throwing the other, so that he does not, he's not invincible when the second bomb hits him. And then throw 4 onto that wall. A lot of the times, not all 4 will drop their bombs. Be prepared for that. Like you see here, I then grab another bomb and toss it onto there before continuing on. And then if you have a 7th bomb, just throw it like right around here, and it'll throw its bomb at the bulborb, the small bulborb, and kill it. And then if you're fast enough, you should have time to go for this cutscene skip. And so this is the first cutscene skip you can go for. If you're a new player, it's not super important to go for these. They save time, like real time, but they don't actually save any in-game time, so it doesn't make it any easier to get the 1 day. But essentially on Switch, the way you do it is you have to press A to bring up a text box on the ship, and that advances, I guess, advances the world 1 frame. And if in that 1 frame this part gets collected by the ship, then it'll bring up the, like pressing I on the ship, it'll bring up that text box during the cutscene, and you can just mash B to get through that text box, and it'll cancel the cutscene. There is a consistent way of timing it if you're early, and you bring up a text box before the cutscene. I will link that video that MoKG has on how to consistently do that in the description. It's just kind of a timing thing of how you press B to cancel the text box and press A to bring up the next one. But the only thing about this, I guess, is if you know on the GameCube and Wii version, you can also press A on ship parts to bring up a text box, but that method does not work a lot of the time on Switch. For some reason, a lot of the time when you do that, the Pikmin will just drop the part instead of bringing it into the ship. So you always want to press A on the ship when you're trying to do cutscene skips with parts. And then the one other thing is when you press A on the ship, Olimar does a little kind of like smacking animation. And if Olimar is facing, like if Olimar's left side is touching the ship, it actually pushes him away from the ship when he does it. And it pushes him far enough away that pressing A does not give you a text box anymore, so you can miss the cutscene skip. So you just want to make sure, like I'm doing here, Olimar's right side is facing the ship, because that does not push you away. And you see it takes me 6 tries here to get the cutscene skip. Even though I brought up that many text boxes, it still actually saves time. It saves about 8 seconds for an optimal like first try cutscene. So if you do it at least like 8 or fewer tries, then you still save time. Ideally, you do it first try, but if not, then it's fine as long as you get it in fewer than 8 tries, basically. And you see I brought up the text box and was able to immediately cancel the cutscene. Once that's done, you're just going to whistle everyone here. Make sure to whistle all your yellows. The ground here is kind of yellow, so it's hard to see sometimes. Just make sure you don't leave anyone behind. And then also, actually, if you had any leaves from earlier, and you put your stuff on this nectar patch here, you're going to want to try to nectar any leaves as long as some of the nectar spawned here. And then you should leave and go over here. Since this guy's dead, I want to throw 6 Pikmin on him. If I had only had 6 bombs earlier, then I would just kill him now. Just one-shot him with a Pikmin and throw 6 on him. You'll see I already have 100 Pikmin, so I don't actually need this guy. But in order to try to go for the area cutscene skip later, I want the Nova Blaster to be as slow as possible. So just getting rid of Pikmin right now slows the Nova Blaster down. So I'll throw 6 on here, and then also... when this guy gets back into the onion, he will give you 4 Pikmin. Because I have 100 on the field, they'll all go into the onion and they'll just stay as leaves. But I would prefer if they weren't leaves. So in order to make room for them on the field, I will throw reds into the water over here and kill them until I have only 96 on the field. So I'll need to throw 4 in here. Now for the distract here. So this can be a little tricky, honestly. And if someone trips, it messes you up a lot as well. There's not much you can do about that. But you want to wake this guy up as you pass him, and then throw a red or yellow. Honestly, it's fine. If you have at least 16 yellows, you can throw a yellow up here as well. But you want to throw a Pikmin up here, and he will get distracted by this after waking up, and so your Nova Blaster can just go right by him. In order to do that, you want to kill this guy either by C-sticking him, or like I do, I just throw a couple of reds on him. You'll see those reds just kind of go idle, or not go idle, but they don't immediately rejoin my party after they kill him. So that gives me time to, 1, throw a Pikmin right in the center of these leaves here. That's kind of the perfect place for it. You don't want to be too close to the edge of this ledge, or the red will actually walk off and try to attack this guy. And you don't want to be too far away, or else he won't be close enough to distract the Bulborb. But throw your Pikmin up here very quickly, and whistle the ones down here. So as you pass, these guys will walk by the Bulborb and nudge him, and that'll wake him up as you're killing this guy. And you can get out of the way, get over here as he wakes up, and he will just aggro onto this one on the ledge. And you may be asking also why these ones that pass him here don't latch onto them. It's because you just threw a Pikmin here. The Pikmin are kind of in a state where they don't want to grab things. So as long as you throw and then just move real quick, then these guys that pass him shouldn't latch on. But yeah, so kill that guy, whistle, and move to the right here. And keep it zoomed in as well to try to deload him as much as possible to buy you more time. Now that he is awake and this Pikmin is closer to him than I am, he's going to aggro on this Pikmin. If I had a trip here and the trip kind of kept running to me, he would actually aggro on me instead of the red. In that case, you just want to C-stick all your Pikmin into this corner behind the can. He'll keep running to you, but right as he gets about here, he gives up and turns around. And then after he turns around, he'll walk back to here to go back to sleep, but then he'll notice the red. So then he'll get distracted and walk into the wall. But so now that we've dealt with him, we want to get the Nova Blaster moving and get our 15 bombs. You want to put the reds on the Nova Blaster first. The way to do that is, because they're all, you see all my reds and yellows are kind of jumbled up. I'll grab a red and just hold it in my hand for a second here, and you'll see they kind of separate into reds in the front and yellows in the back. I'll grab the red, throw it on the Nova Blaster, and just C-stick towards the Nova Blaster. And then as my reds get near it, I will dismiss and move away with Olimar. Like I'll tap down on the control stick at the same time I press X. That will dismiss my reds towards the Nova Blaster and my yellows down here. So I can whistle my yellows, and then any more than 15 I have, like I'll have 17 here, I'll throw 2 on the Nova Blaster to get down to 15, and then dismiss my remaining 15 in the bomb can here. Here, dismiss, whistle, throw 2. I guess I get the cutscene first, but... Throw 2 on the Nova Blaster, and then C-stick to the right to dismiss them in the can. If you're not comfortable dismissing the yellows, like you mess it up a lot and they end up grabbing the Nova Blaster, you can also just walk into the can and C-stick them. The only thing with that is you need to make sure that they make the bomb pickup noise at least 3 times, and just keep C-sticking during that. Once you hear that third noise, then you can move away. If you just C-stick into the can and then don't hear the 3 noises and leave, a lot of the times they won't grab all 15 bombs, which you do need all 15 here. So another thing once you dismiss is you'll want to walk up if you didn't activate the Nova Blaster cutscene earlier and activate it, or the text box I should say, because the text box can kind of mess you up when you're doing this wall later. So you just want to get rid of it basically. And so this wall skip, this is honestly pretty easy once you get the muscle memory down, because we can abuse the mechanic where we press R while we're holding a Pikmin to swap colors, because that will teleport to whatever color we swap to directly into our hand, essentially no matter where it is. And since the game treats bombs and yellows as different colors, once the yellow we throw here drops its bomb, we can hold this bomb and press R, and it'll swap this yellow directly into our hand, so it just like skips it across the water so it won't drown. Once that happens, we can just get it out of here, throw a second bomb, and then do the same thing to just completely skip anyone drowning in this water. Nothing else really to say about that, except for just make sure that you throw your reticle right here. If you throw it too far to the right, they won't see the wall. And if you land them directly on the wall, they actually skip off of it and land on the other side. So just make sure it's on the kind of dirt wall here, not the actual light colored dirt wall, I guess. And so you'll see right as it drops the bomb, I actually press R twice to grab it back in my hand, and then I swap back to a bomb, throw the bomb, and then throw the yellow over here. So see, press R twice, throw the second bomb. As soon as I throw the second bomb, get moving, swap the yellow I have into my hand to get it out of here, so that I have no yellows. So when I swap to a yellow from this bomb again, it'll make sure it's this one, not the other one. And then a lot of the times you'll have some straggler bombs that just grab from the can, so you don't want to move too far up to the top here, or else they'll end up walking into the water. But you want to throw 4 onto the ledge here, and you want to throw them onto this right side. You don't want them going to the left, because they're a little easier to whistle later if you throw them on the right side. And at this point, you should have 9 bombs left. If you don't, something went wrong. Either one didn't grab the can, or you accidentally threw an extra on this. Either way, if you only have 8, whistle the yellows here, just because you might need them, and walk back to the can over there to see what happened. But if you have 9, you can just start going over to this wall. This wall here is probably the most inconsistent part of this day, because you need to throw all 9 bombs onto the wall and have them all destroy the wall, or I guess blow up on the wall in order to destroy it. But the shear grubs spawn around here, and if the shear grubs are underground, then the Pikmin kind of get distracted by them and try to bomb the shear grubs instead of the wall. So basically what you want to do is walk up to here with your Pikmin, or with the Pikmin in hand, just to spawn the shear grubs to get them out of the dirt and kind of moving towards you. And as that happens, then you can throw 4 or 5, again, right in the middle, right in front, and hopefully they drop. And then you can, like I do here, See, not all of them dropped because there were some still in the ground, but at least a couple of them did. And then I C-stick over here to dismiss and re-grab the bombs, so get the yellows out of my party. And then basically just walk back and do the same thing. If some sheer grubs followed you, or sheer wigs, sheer grubs. If sheer grubs follow you and start attacking your yellows, that's actually fine. You don't need to save the yellows. Assuming you have 16 or 17 yellows, just let one of the yellows die, and the other ones will kill this sheer grub, and that'll save you time later. See, that happens to me here. I lose the yellow off of this, but this guy's dead, so I don't have to deal with him later. And then, so one last bomb didn't drop it on the wall, so I'll just real quick throw it and then go. And right about here is a pretty ideal place to stop the Nova Blaster. You would like to stop it before it gets into the ship. It's not a run killer if it gets collected before you get back, but because it didn't get collected, I get to go for the area cutscene skip later. So if you can, just try to stop it around here. But so now you want to whistle all of your Pikmin here, and leaving the landing site here, you need at least 76 Pikmin with you. That's the bare minimum, basically, in order to grab the 2 parts near those sheer wigs or sheer grubs and the radiation canopy. So after whistling, if you see you don't have 76, you're going to need to pluck some of these leaves. It's kind of annoying to have leaves, but it's just an unfortunate necessity if you don't have 76. And make sure no one gets caught on the wall here or on the Nova Blaster. But you're going to want to throw up on this wall. You need to throw at least 26 onto this wall. Preferably more. I have enough to throw, I believe I throw 27 onto the wall, and I have 51 with me going into this area. If you have any buds or leaves, don't throw them onto the wall. You want to bring your buds and leaves over to this area. But if you have only 76, throw 26 reds onto this wall, and then just go over here. But if you have, I guess, it's kind of up to you whether you put your extra Pikmin here or bring them with you over here. Like I have 2 extras. There's not really any reason to bring more than 1 extra with you here, but I like to have it sometimes just so if one dies, I don't have to come back and pick up ones from here, because you need at least 50 in this area. So I like having 51 just in case someone dies. But so throw up here until you have 51, or 50 if you only had 76. And then come over here. So you want to walk right about here. You're going to need to kill definitely these guys. And any male sheer grubs that spawn near you while you're killing these guys or throwing onto this, the whatever it's called, the radar. But you don't want to walk too close to here just to avoid spawning any male sheer grubs that you don't want, so you don't have to kill them. And also, actually, one of the other things about having 51 that I didn't take advantage of here is I spent a lot of extra time killing that guy after he grabbed one of my Pikmin. I didn't need to do that. I could have just let it die, and it would have the sheer grub would have died immediately afterwards. But yeah, just remember that if you have 51 and you've killed everything except for 1 sheer grub, you can just let your 1 Pikmin die while you throw stuff onto the other parts. Because I guess actually I didn't explain that necessarily of why you need to kill the male sheer grubs. But so if a male sheer grub grabs one of your Pikmin, it will not die just from swarming. The only way to kill it would be to land a Pikmin on it. So that's why I could have left it alone. Is there were enough Pikmin around it that it took enough damage. So essentially, it has super armor during when it's trying to eat a Pikmin, and even if it takes enough damage to kill it, it won't die during that, but it will die immediately afterwards. So I could have left it alone, it would have died immediately afterwards, and I would have enough Pikmin. But I was trying to land one on it to save my Pikmin, which I didn't really need to do, but yeah. And if you have extras, don't throw 21 onto this, because then it'll be too fast. If you have 31, put them on this, because then it'll usually end up pretty close to the radar coming into the ship, and you need the radar and the bolt to come in at roughly the same time in order to get the area cutscene skip. And then also, if you have any buds, put the buds on this, because you want this to be the slightly slower thing. all right, so coming over here, if you only were able to throw 26 on the ledge here, you're going to want to whistle this guy that you left on the ledge. I don't think I do it here, but if you just walk up to the wall about here and just do a really long whistle, you can grab him, and then by the time you walk over here, he will just kind of walk past the water, so you don't need to worry about the water. But since I threw 27 on the ledge, I don't need to grab him. But as you're coming around, whistle your bombs. That's why you put them here, to make them easier to whistle, and then throw them on the wall. And so now coming to the, whatever it's called, the armored cannon beetle. So if you have enough time, you can kill it. It loses about 10 seconds, and you're guaranteed to not get the area cutscene. But if you're new and you're not comfortable with the strat here where you don't kill it, you can kill it, and it's fine. But what I would recommend to do, and just because it's faster and it's probably like 99% consistent, is you'll need at least 31 here. Throw one Pikmin to the side here, and then put your remaining ones on the radiation canopy. And then grab your one and turn around and just try to get the ACB to suck in. And when it does, you can throw one in its snout and leave. If you do that, as long as the radiation canopy starts moving relatively quickly, it will always get out of the arena before the beetle is able to squish it with its rocks. So you see I throw here, and then like I mentioned earlier at the, whatever it's called, the Eternal Fuel Dynamo, you don't want to be squished right up onto the part with Olimar. You want to be slightly far away from it when you see stick onto it. You see I do that, and basically all of them grab it immediately, and then I just have one left in my party. I just dismiss it. And it starts moving pretty quickly. Yeah, so since this got moving pretty quickly, as long as I don't mess up, and I just get the Pikmin in its snout, they will be safe. Really, the only part that you could mess up at this point is not correctly throwing it into the snout. The way I like to do it is grab the Pikmin, and you don't want to aim like right for its snout here. You want to aim a little bit behind it, just so that it's at the correct height and I guess position to get sucked in. If I were to either like move the reticle really far away or like put the reticle right here, the red Pikmin actually would not be close enough to the snout to get sucked in. So yeah, you just do it like that. If you're not confident in that, you can't kill it, but I would recommend just learning this way. And you can see that they're coming back at about the same time. This is another reason why it's helpful to have the Nova Blaster kind of in the middle of the path here, is if they're too far apart, which they actually were a little too far apart here, the front part will knock into the Nova Blaster and slow it down a bit so the other part can catch up. Another thing you can do if the front part is too, I guess, far away from the back part is you can actually lay down by clicking in the right stick in front of the front part with Olimar, and that'll slow it down as well. But so now that they're about to come into the ship, I'm going to go for the cutscene skip here. And it takes me several tries, because if it gets moved to the side by the Nova Blaster, I don't always know exactly when it will be coming in. But so you see, I got the cutscene skip on the first part. If you get the cutscene skip on the first part and the Nova Blaster's not been collected yet, and the second part starts getting collected before the first part is sucked into the ship, then it will skip the area cutscene. Essentially, I guess a decent explanation of why that is you get the area cutscene when the number of ship parts collected ticks over from 4 to 5. But I guess the increment in the ship part number doesn't happen until a part gets sucked in, and it's like right about here. So if the second part starts getting collected before the first part increments the counter, then it essentially skips directly from 3 to 5, the counter. So it just never applies the area cutscene. So see here, I'm about to collect the radar before the bolt enters the ship, so it doesn't play the area cutscene, and I can just whistle my 50 Pikmin and head over to the bridge. Also, so with this bridge, as a beginner, this will never apply to you. You'll almost always just go right to the bridge here. But if you look and you see the bridge is not done yet, and it's like not close to being done, you should throw your, I guess, all but 8 Pikmin onto this ledge on the left here first before going over here. But if this bridge is either done or about to be done, just bring all your Pikmin over here. And you can either throw 8 or dismiss and whistle 8, but you only want 8 with you, I guess, coming out from here. I ended up throwing 9, that's fine, because I can whistle here. I'll have 21, which is 1 more than I need, and I can just throw 1 just to the side here and only put 20 on the part. But you do want them all to be reds, just so it's easy to dismiss onto the part without getting too close, so you don't get the cutscene or the text box from it. And then walking back here, just throw all the rest of your Pikmin up onto the ledge. You want to throw them as close to the entrance as possible. And then head up into the water. You want to climb up on the left with this root. You can't actually climb up out of the water to the right side here, so you're going to want to hug onto that root there. And then as you come around the corner here, you can whistle these guys, and you want to keep moving and whistle. Like right after you whistle, keep moving with Olimar and just touch the Bulbor, bump into it. You want to be quick here so that Olimar touches the Bulbor before the Pikmin do, or else they'll start latching on. You don't want that. So just really quick, whistle, bump, and then head over here. And then again, I'm at that perfect distance. I'm not quite touching it, so that when I stick onto it, they all grab it. And then just dismiss any extras. And essentially the way that the Bulborb aggro works here is he aggroes onto whatever is closest to him, not what's in front of him. So you just want to be closer to him than the part is. So you see here, I dismiss. And then I walk back so that I'm closer to him than the part. And then I stay close to him so that he bites onto me. Once he tries to bite twice, if you're able to pull him over to kind of this corner here, then you're good to go. If you didn't pull him too far, like say he's right in the crook of this little curve, probably have him bite 3 times before leaving just to be safe. And then walking back here, these, if you're fast enough, these will usually be buds. If you're a little slower, they'll be leaves, or flowers, which is also fine. But just pluck however many you think you want. I usually just pluck 2, but you can feel free to pluck however many, and then get the Nova Blaster moving. And then that's pretty much it for the day. You're just going for cutscene skips. That one I messed up the timing a little bit of the guaranteed 1 framer, but yeah. And then once that comes in, make sure to speed up the other parts. The max load on the shock absorber is 50, and the max load on this one is 30. So. And again, remember, I want the right side of Olimar to be facing the ship, not the left. And then the only thing about getting a cutscene skip on the last part of the day is it saves slightly less time than the other parts, because you still need to wait for it to get sucked into the ship before you can end the day. So right there, now that it's sucked in, now I can end the day. And then, yeah, once you end the day, just make sure to mash B to get through the cutscenes and the text. And then look at your numbers here. You should have 15 at least, and around, I think bare minimum reds is 74, but you should almost always have more than that. You should have like close to 80 really. Just make sure your numbers aren't like too weird here, basically. Don't save and then do continue.